The air in our suburban home in Denver always seemed crisp, clean, a reflection of the life I thought we had built. I'm Quentin, a 43-year-old IT specialist. My life was pretty straightforward. Work, home, maybe a weekend hike in the Rockies. My wife Isolde and I had been married for 15 years. We weren't the most passionate couple, but we were comfortable, or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Isolde, who worked as a real estate agent, started coming home later. Just showing properties, she'd say, a little too casually. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, became a constant companion, screen down, always within reach. I chalked it up to the pressures of her job, the demands of the market. I trusted her implicitly. Then came the little things I couldn't ignore. A new perfume, something floral and expensive that I hadn't bought her. A sudden interest in yoga classes, 3 nights a week, conveniently filling the evenings when I worked late. I tried to talk to her about it, but she'd brush me off, accusing me of being insecure, controlling. "You're imagining things, Quentin," she'd say, her eyes a little too wide, her voice a little too sharp. "I'm just trying to take care of myself." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the unease gnawed at me, a persistent itch I couldn't scratch. One Saturday morning, Isolde told me she was going to an open house in Boulder. "It'll be a long day," she said, grabbing her purse and a file folder. "Don't wait up." Something felt off. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was lying. After she left, I wandered around the house, restless, unable to focus on anything. I found myself in our bedroom, a space that had once felt like a sanctuary now filled with a strange, unsettling tension. I started tidying up, aimlessly straightening things on her dresser. That's when I saw it, a small, locked box tucked away in the back of her closet. It was nothing fancy, just a simple metal box with a combination lock. I'd never seen it before. Curiosity, or maybe a deeper, more primal instinct, took over. I tried a few random combinations, but nothing worked. Frustrated, I was about to give up when I remembered Isolde's birthday, 8/14. I entered the numbers, and to my surprise, the lock clicked open. Inside, I found a stack of cash, neatly bundled. Thousands of dollars, maybe 10 or 15,000. I also found a passport, Isolde's, with a recent photo. And then I saw it, a one-way plane ticket to Costa Rica, departing in 2 weeks. The passenger name matched Isolde's, but the return date was blank. My heart pounded in my chest. What was going on? Why would Isolde need a secret stash of cash, a passport, and a one-way ticket to Costa Rica? The answer, though unspoken, screamed in my head. I dug deeper, rifling through the box. I found a small, sealed envelope. Inside, a handwritten note: "Meet me at the airport. I can't wait to start our new life together." Alaric, Alaric. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Who was Alaric? I didn't recognize the name. I grabbed my phone and started searching, my hands shaking. A few minutes later, I had my answer. Alaric was a colleague of Isolde's, a slick, charismatic real estate agent who had joined her firm a few months ago. I'd met him a couple of times at company parties. He'd always been overly friendly with Isolde, but I dismissed it as professional courtesy. Now it all made sense. The late nights, the new perfume, the yoga classes, the secret phone calls. Isolde was having an affair, and she was planning to run away with him to Costa Rica, leaving me behind without a word. The betrayal was like a physical blow, knocking the wind out of me. I sank to the floor, the contents of the box scattered around me. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision. I felt a crushing weight on my chest, a sense of profound loss and disbelief. How could she do this to me? After all these years, after all we had built together. How could she throw it all away for some cheap fling with a younger man? I spent the rest of the day in a daze, replaying the events of the past few months in my head, searching for clues I had missed, signs I had ignored. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that Isolde had been planning this for a long time. She had been systematically dismantling our life, preparing to leave me without a second thought. That evening, Isolde came home, her face flushed, her eyes bright. "How was the open house?" I asked, my voice flat. "It was fine," she said, avoiding my gaze. "Long day. I'm exhausted." I wanted to confront her, to scream at her, to demand an explanation, but I held back. I needed to gather my thoughts, to formulate a plan. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. "I made dinner," I said, forcing a smile. "Let's eat. We sat at the table, the silence thick and heavy. Isolde picked at her food, her eyes darting around the room. I watched her, studying her face, trying to understand what had gone wrong. How had we reached this point after dinner? I excused myself and went to the garage. I needed to clear my head, to find a way to channel my anger and pain. I grabbed my tools and started working on my old motorcycle, a vintage Triumph I had been restoring for years. The rhythmic clang of metal against metal helped to soothe my nerves, to focus my mind. As I worked, a plan began to form in my head. I wasn't going to let Isolde run away and disappear. I wasn't going to let her take everything I had worked for. I was going to expose her, to reveal her true nature to the world. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering evidence, documenting Isolde's affair. I hired a private investigator to track her movements, to confirm my suspicions. I discovered that she had been meeting Alaric at a small apartment in downtown Denver, a love nest they had rented for their secret trysts. The investigator provided me with photos and videos, irrefutable proof of Isolde's infidelity. I felt a strange mix of anger and satisfaction as I reviewed the evidence. I had what I needed to destroy her. I also started transferring funds from our joint account into a separate account in my name. I knew that Isolde would try to take everything she could get in the divorce, so I had to protect myself. It felt cold and calculating, but I didn't care. She had left me no choice. The day before Isolde was scheduled to leave for Costa Rica, I called a family meeting. I invited her parents, her siblings, and a few close friends. I told them I had something important to share. When everyone arrived, I gathered them in the living room. Isolde looked nervous, her eyes darting around the room. She knew something was up. "I have some difficult news to share," I said, my voice calm and steady. "Isolde and I are getting a divorce." A gasp went through the room. Isolde's mother started to cry. "What happened?" she asked. "Isolde has been having an affair," I said, "and she was planning to run away with her lover to Costa Rica tomorrow." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Isolde, who stood frozen, her face pale. "That's not true," she stammered, her voice trembling. "Quentin is lying." "I wish I were," I said, "but I have proof." I nodded to the private investigator, who stepped forward and handed out copies of the photos and videos to everyone in the room. The room erupted in chaos. Isolde's mother screamed at her, her siblings turned away in disgust, and her friends looked at her with pity and disappointment. Isolde tried to deny it, to explain it away, but no one was listening. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable. "How could you do this?" her mother wailed. "After all Quentin has done for you," Isolde broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry," she cried. "I didn't mean for it to happen." "You didn't mean for it to happen," I said, my voice cold. "You were planning to abandon me, to leave me with nothing. You were going to start a new life with your lover without a second thought for me or anyone else." Isolde had no answer. She just stood there, weeping, her reputation in tatters. I turned to her parents. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way," I said, "but I couldn't keep it a secret any longer." They nodded, their faces etched with sadness and disappointment. They had always liked me, had always seen me as a good, honest man. They couldn't believe that their daughter had betrayed me so cruelly. The meeting broke up soon after. Isolde's family and friends left, shaking their heads in disbelief. Isolde was left alone, abandoned and disgraced. I filed for divorce the next day. The proceedings were swift and brutal. Isolde tried to fight me, to claim that I was abusive and controlling, but the evidence was against her. The judge sided with me, awarding me a generous settlement and full custody of our assets. Isolde was left with nothing. Her reputation was ruined, her family had disowned her, and her lover had abandoned her. She had lost everything because of her own greed and selfishness. I moved on with my life, slowly but surely. I focused on my work, my hobbies, and my friends. I started dating again, cautiously, trying to rebuild my trust in women. It wasn't easy. The scars of Isolde's betrayal ran deep, but I refused to let her define me, to let her destroy my happiness. One day, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received a phone call from Alaric's wife. She had found out about the affair and had kicked him out of the house. She was furious, humiliated, and desperate for revenge. "I know what Isolde did to you," she said. "I want to help you get back at her." I hesitated. I wasn't sure I wanted to get involved in another messy drama. But Alaric's wife was persuasive. She had a plan, a way to make Isolde pay for what she had done. Together, we hatched a scheme. We knew that Isolde was desperate for money, that she was struggling to make ends meet. We decided to exploit her vulnerability. Alaric's wife set up a fake job interview for Isolde at a prestigious real estate firm. She told Isolde that the firm was looking for experienced agents with a proven track record. Isolde, eager to impress, jumped at the opportunity. During the interview, Alaric's wife revealed that the firm had a strict policy against hiring anyone who had been involved in an affair or had a history of dishonesty. She asked Isolde point-blank if she had ever cheated on her husband or lied to her clients. Isolde, desperate to get the job, denied everything. She claimed that I had been a jealous, controlling husband who had fabricated the affair to ruin her life. Alaric's wife pretended to believe her. She told Isolde that she would consider her application and get back to her soon. But instead of offering Isolde a job, Alaric's wife sent a letter to all the real estate firms in Denver, exposing Isolde's affair and warning them not to hire her. She included copies of the photos and videos I had obtained, along with a detailed account of Isolde's lies and deceit. The letter had the desired effect. No one would hire Isolde. She was blacklisted from the real estate industry, her career in ruins. I felt a sense of satisfaction as I learned about Isolde's downfall. She had finally paid the price for her betrayal. She had lost everything, just as she had tried to take everything from me. But as time went on, my anger began to fade. I realized that revenge wasn't the answer. It didn't bring me happiness or peace. It just perpetuated the cycle of pain and bitterness. I decided to let go of my resentment, to forgive Isolde for what she had done. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary for my own healing. I don't know what happened to Isolde. I haven't seen or heard from her in years. I hope that she has found some measure of happiness, that she has learned from her mistakes. But I don't dwell on it. I have moved on with my life. I have found love again with a woman who is honest, loyal, and kind. We have built a life together, a life based on trust and respect. I am grateful for the lessons I have learned, the challenges I have overcome. Isolde's betrayal will always be a part of my story, but it doesn't define me. I am a survivor, a fighter, a man who has learned to love again. And that is the most important thing. I never thought my life would take such a dark turn. The woman I loved, the life we built, all shattered by a selfish act of betrayal. It's a reminder that even in the most familiar of relationships, deception can lurk beneath the surface. The pain was immense, but the journey through it taught me resilience and the importance of self-worth. To anyone facing a similar heartbreak, remember that healing is possible and a brighter future awaits beyond the shadows of betrayal. Don't let their actions define you. Define yourself by how you rise above it. You are stronger than you think.